Hi, I'm Teddy Burris, your Google Workspace and Gmail strategist. I've got a series of questions I'm going to answer in this one video. But what I'm going to do every time in the description section of the YouTube video, you'll see the table of contents, so you'll be able to get to each question and the appropriate answer. But I'll put all these answers, all these questions and answers in one YouTube video. So let me get started. Here's the first question. What happens if I unshare a folder of someone on Google Drive, but that person's the owner of some documents inside that folder? Let me show you. So you look right here, I have a folder called Class Videos. Now I've shared this with my Burris Consulting account. Okay, remember, this is the testing account. This is my business account where I teach LinkedIn. So I've shared it with him and made him an editor. Okay, so if you look at it, he's already created one folder, one file in that folder. It belongs to Teddy Burris on the other account. So if I double click on it, you can see all it says is this is Teddy's file from another account. Okay, so close that, close this, and I'm back. There's the file in the folder that I have shared with Teddy Burris. So if I look here under sharing, here's where it's shared with Teddy. But let me remove him. Let me remove him and hit save. Now I'm going to hit refresh. Now look at this. I'm going to hit refresh again just to make sure timing's right. So there's the file he put in there, but he no longer has access to the folder. Let me go over and look at it from his side. Can't find folder. The folder is gone. So if I refresh over here and I go look at shared with me, that's not in here. That folder is not in here. Let's see. Let's do a video. Folder's not in here. It's gone. But if I go back to my drive, so there's the file. So I can still edit this. I can do whatever I want. Do what I want. And look, saving, saved. But it's over here on the other account. Now if I hit move, it wants me to move it just to my drive. It won't let me, it doesn't let me see that folder. So if I move it to my drive, I can probably take it out of the other drive. So I'm going to move it over. Move. Teddy's file has been added to my drive. So now I've moved the file. So now if I go back to my drive, I'm going to close this down. Remember, I'm on drive on Burris Consulting Inc. Okay, and if I go to my drive and if I look for the file, it was called "This is Teddy's file, belongs to me." Where is it now? Double click, save to drive, move. It's under my drive. Now, if I go back to the other account where I originally saved it in a shared folder, and I hit refresh, it's gone. It was taken out of this folder and moved to the other folder. So let me summarize this. If someone puts a file in a Google folder that you own, and you give them permission to put files in that folder, they can put them there. When you remove permission for them to get to the folders, those files stay until the other person moves them. And the only place they can move them is to their own drive and folders in their drives or other shared drives that they have access to. But they can no longer access this folder and anything else in this folder except for what they put there. Here's question number 2. I accidentally joined a Google Drive and then I left. Do they still see that I joined? I don't know of any way for me to reach out to a drive that I do not know about. I do know for a fact that the only way I can get to, and by the way, I can't share my drive. There's no way to share your drive. There's only opportunities to share access to folders or access to documents in folders, document sheets, etc., etc. There is no way to share a drive. So I'm not sure how this person is referring to accidentally joined a Google Drive. So I'm going to have to ask for clarity on that so I understand it. Now, you can be invited, I'll show it to you again. you can be invited to access a Google Drive. Hey, Teddy, I am giving you view access to this folder under Google Drive. Because remember, I can't share a drive. And hit send. Now if I go to the other side, here's Burris Consulting at Gmail giving Teddy Burris, here it is right here, TL Burris Consulting, access to that folder, and I bring that folder up and I can see it. So I have view permissions of that. But there is no way you can, by your own activity, join a Google Drive. Someone has to give you permission to see a folder or documents under Google Drive. If you're giving permission and access to this folder and then you decline it, let me show you how to do that. So if you no longer want access to that folder in someone else's Google Drive, you can find it under Share with Me, and there it is right there. And then what I can do is hit the remove button. So now it's no longer in my Google Drive. Now if I go back to the other person and I hit refresh and I hit shared, he thinks it's still shared with me. He doesn't know I've removed it from my drive, my share with me section. And so he does not know that I have stopped accessing that folder in his Google Drive. So at this point, if he wants to, he can go ahead and remove it. So in summary, if someone gives you access to a folder in their Google Drive and you access it, and then you decide you no longer want to access it, you can remove it from your shared with me under your Google Drive or your My Drive, and they don't know that you are no longer accessing it. Here's the next question. How could you check how much free usable space your Gmail account has? Okay, so let's take a look at that. So first of all, I'll go to my drive, and under my drive, if you're looking at everything's collapsed, I have 1 gig. I'm using 1 gig of 15. There's the answer. I'm using 1 gig of 15. Now, if you click on that, it's going to show you everything that you're using it on, all of your documents, files using drive storage. It'll also include attachments that are in your email. If you have a bunch of attachments in here, they'll stack up in there as well. So, but to answer your question is it's under drive, under storage, and it'll tell you how much you're using. And again, if you click on it, it'll show you all the files that are using drive storage. Here's the next question. How do I clear all of my Google Drive shared files and anything? Not sure what that means, but let's talk about what you have the ability for emptying out your Google Drive. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive. So first of all, if you look at Google Drive, you click on My Drive, this is all the stuff that you have under Google Drive. If you want to clear it out, I guess you could click on that and hit delete. You could click on this and hit delete. You could just delete them all, delete out all the files that are in your My Drive. Go to Share with Me. Again, you can do the same thing there. You can click on that and you can hit delete and it'll remove it. It's not going to delete it from the other person. It belongs to Teddy Burris at burrisconsulting.com, but I can remove it and it's no longer there. Now, one last thing you have to do if you're going to delete out or purge out or remove all of your documents under My Drive, the next thing you have to do is go to trash. Now, it'll automatically delete after every 30 days. Each item, 30 days later, delete. But if you want to get rid of all them, then you have to select them. By the way, I can hold the Shift key and hit select, and then I can hit the delete. And it's going to say, hey, this is forever. And then they're gone. So that's the simple answer for how do I clear out my Google Drive, shared files and everything. Start deleting under Google Drive. Here's another one. How do I get an order subtotal in Google Forms? Now, I like this question. Unfortunately, there is no way in Google Forms for you to get a subtotal of what people enter. Here's a Google form I created. You know, what's your name, what's your address, and how many bags of peanuts do you want? So, you know, maybe I want to get a subtotal of the number of bags of peanuts. But if you look at the options here for the types of entries you can have in a Google form, there's no calculations here. There's a drop box, checkbox, all these other options, but no calculation features, which I think would be pretty cool. But let me show you what you can do. So I have this information I've collected. Now look over here. This is good. Responses are going to go, I have them going into a sheet. So here's the sheet. Let me fill one of these out and show you what I do. I got to go to preview, and my name is Bob. My address is North Carolina, and I want 25 bags of peanuts. Okay, now I submit that in my Google form. Anybody submits it. Make sure your form's set up so other people can access it too. Now let's go back and look at the peanut order form. Look here. This is the one I did earlier. Now by default, these calculations aren't there. But I created the calculations right here, and I take and copy those and paste them here. And look what I get. I said each bag is $25, and I wrote a formula that says take 25 times the number of bags they want. It said tax is 7%. So I said, okay, take 7% times the cost. Then I said shipping is $2. They want 25, so I wrote a formula. It said 2 times 25, and I put 50. And then I subtotaled the whole thing. 625 plus 43 plus 50 is 718.75. So I wrote a formula in the responses spreadsheet that I have to copy the formula each time there's a new row entered. But this copy doesn't get deleted. Every time a new form is entered, let me hit preview. Steve, DC, and I want 100 bags, and hit submit. Come out of that and go look at the spreadsheet. There it is. Steve and DC wants 100. So all I did was copy these formulas up here to here, the relative formulas. 25 times 100, 7% of 2,500, $2 per bag for shipping. Total is $28.75. And if I want to be really cool and clever, I format that into dollars and cents. And that is how you get subtotal on each entry from a Google form. Here's the next one. How do I add new fonts to Google Docs? Now that's another really good question that people don't know the answer to. So let's play with that a little bit. So if I go to one of my documents, here's one of my documents right here, Google Doc. And if you look right here, here are the fonts that I have available. Now I have quite a few fonts, but there are more available to you. The only way to add new fonts to Google Docs is to go up here where it says more fonts. Click on more fonts. I can go down here and go, you know what? I want this one. I like the Rubik. And I want quicksand, and I do okay. And then I come back here and generally I do a refresh. And if you see right here, I have Rubik, I have quicksand, and I can't remember the other one I added, but it added the ones that I clicked on from more fonts. Can you create your own fonts in Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google Forms? No. You can only, because this is a cloud-based software as a service, you can only add the fonts that the application has available for you to add. Now here's my last question, which is actually an important one. I just signed in with my main Google account on a deceptive website. Will anything happen to me? I'm going to say the answer is you must assume yes. Anytime you get snookered into logging into your Google account from anywhere other than a Google page, a Google site, you run the risk of having your account hijacked. You must assume the answer is yes. Let me tell you how you have to combat this. Number one, first of all, always pay attention to where you are. Look at the URL. You know, if I go open up a new page or incognito and I type in gmail.com, if you're not looking at accounts.google.com when you're logging into anything Gmail related, here, I'll show you another one. If I want to go to Google Analytics, accounts.google.com. Every time you're logging into a Google account, you need to make sure you're logging into accounts.google.com. Anything else around those words, you are not logging into a Google account. That's number one. Pay attention to where you're logging in. Let's talk about the next thing that you have to do. The moment you think your account is hijacked, you need to go to Settings, see All Settings. You need to go to Accounts, Other Google Account Settings. Actually, the URL is myaccount.google.com. That's where you need to go, myaccount.google.com. Do this when you're logged into Gmail, and it becomes way easier. Go to Security, and this is absolutely critical. What you want to do is you will want to change your password. Number one, change your password. Number two, turn on use your phone to sign in, which means you have to have the Gmail app for this account on your phone so you can get a message via the Gmail app that you're logging in. And the third thing is turn on two-step verification. If you use a unique password, you have the ability to help to minimize people hacking your system. But if you logged into a site, they got your email address. If you turn on use your phone to sign in and two-step verification, you nearly eliminate the ability, even if they know your email address and your password, you nearly eliminate the ability for them to get into your account. But the moment you say you think you made that mistake, change your password, turn on, if you haven't already turned on, use your phone to sign in, and turn on, if you have not turned on, two-step verification. Oh, recent security activity. So I'm logging in North Carolina. You want to see, am I logging in somewhere else where you're not? And if you see that you're logged in somewhere else where you're not, you want to know, secure account. Hit that button. It'll probably take you through the steps of change your password, turn on two-step, turn on cell phone use, and log this account out, this user out of your account. Be careful where you're logging in. Manage your security. Turn on two-step verification. Those are the questions I'm answering today. I hope those are all useful to you in some way or another. If you have any other question, please drop into Quora and ask me any question about Google Workspace and Gmail, and I'll answer it for you.